Of course, my name is Brett Strong, and you're. Why don't you go ahead and say your name and state your side, and we'll just go like that for 45 minutes to an hour. How's that?
Sure, that sounds good. Well, my name is Anthony Trent, and I'm an oncoming staff member at Justice for All. And Justice for All trains pro-life students to have productive dialogues with pro-choice people. And so we go on college campuses, we set up displays, and we dialogue with students and ask them what they think about abortion. And so taking that spirit of dialogue, of just listening and asking questions and finding common ground with pro-choice people is a pretty common approach for Justice for All. And so we come from the position that elective abortion is wrong and it should be illegal. And so all human beings should have a basic right to life from fertilization onward.
Okay. And my name is Brett Strong, and I'm atheist, pro-choice, and that's my position. I will say real quick, there's a lot of feedback. Sorry, people, for the feedback, but we're doing the best we can on Google Hangout. Now, to get things started, you said that you're against elected abortion, right? What is elected abortion to you? Like, the woman says, "Hey, I want an abortion," and you say that's wrong?
Yeah. So basically, the medical literature, elective abortion currently done in our country is a variety of things. Normally, dismemberment, poisoning, decapitation, and then some methods of early abortions with like certain abortion pills like RU486 prevent implantation of the embryo to the uterine lining. And so for a woman to choose to have an abortion, our position at JFA is that that should be illegal.
So so what you're saying as far as elected abortion is when a woman decides she wants an abortion, that's wrong, right?
Correct.
So how do you feel about when a woman's life's in danger and she elects to have an abortion to save her life? Now, is that election within the realm of your being? Is she right to have an elected abortion if her life's in danger? So are you adamant all elected abortions are wrong, or are you willing to concede ground?
Okay, sure. So when people talk about life of the mother, generally some people on our staff will say, yes, I believe that abortion in the case of life of the mother is acceptable. But other people who are a little more picky on word choice would say, well, that's not abortion. That's a salpingectomy or a salpingostomy. Ostomy is like, it's not an abortion. It's a medical procedure that addresses the problem like ectopic pregnancy. I'm not really picky how to word that. I would just say that there are certain kinds of procedures that are ethical responses to dealing with things like ectopic pregnancy, but there's other types of procedures that aren't. So methotrexate, for instance, is not an ethical way to handle ectopic pregnancy, because what it does is intentionally and deliberately stop the cellular division of the embryo, so it's an abortion. Whereas a salpingectomy is removing the damaged fallopian tube, and as a result, the embryo dies. So I've heard pro-choice people say, well, that's abortion as well. Well, if it makes you feel better, I'll call that abortion. But I would just say there's simply medical procedures that are and are not acceptable solutions to dealing with fatal pregnancy problems.
Yeah, if you look up like the common abortion meaning on like Bing Dictionary, Webster Dictionary, they pretty much all say the same: abortion, operation to end pregnancy. So if we're going to use your basic definition dictionary, it would say operation to end pregnancy, which would say, okay, your side, to save the woman's life, you do believe in abortion. And so if you believe in abortion, and I'm a pro-choice, I believe in abortion, and the woman who gets an abortion believes in abortion, since we all believe in abortion at some level, what's your institution's issue with that? Since at some level you and your institution believe in abortion, and so if we all believe in abortion, how come we just can't get along?
Well, I would say you're equivocating the word abortion as that. So self-ectomy, for instance, we're using abortion in two different ways. In one, the pregnancy is the embryo is going to grow and going to kill the woman and the embryo. Both are going to die. And so in that instance, we're choosing who we can save, not choosing who we can kill. And so currently with our medical technology, we can only save the woman. We can't save the embryo. And so that's different than abortion. And so I don't really want to get hung up on terms of what abortion is or isn't. I will say, though, that in most cases, over 99% of cases, abortion is not used to save the life of the mother. It's used for unwantedness of the fetus, or because the fetus isn't considered a person, or because women feel they have their bodily autonomy trumps the fetus's right to life. And so I think a productive discourse between pro-choice and pro-life people is going to focus on abortions that take place for those reasons, not the medical procedures. And so what I wanted to know from you is, do you think, as a pro-choice person, do you think that abortion should be legal all 9 months of pregnancy?
Well, hang on. I want to back up, because when Stephanie Gray debates people and Scott Klusendorf debate pro-choicers, to me, the pro-choicers fail to nail them on that point. And Stephanie Gray, I've contacted her. She gets away with that a lot in her debates, probably all her debates, where abortion, if we're going to use a definition, abortion, your basic definition is an operation to end pregnancy. If that's you agree with that, do you agree with that definition? Abortion is an operation to end pregnancy. Do you agree with that?
Abortion does end a pregnancy.
Yeah, exactly. So,
however, it's not what's ending the pregnancy in these circumstances with the life of the mother isn't because the pregnant. It's not the medical procedure that's letting the child die. It's the problem with ectopic pregnancy. The embryo is not where it's supposed to be. It's lodged in the fallopian tube. So it's not the procedure of self-ectomy that's ending the pregnancy. It's this pathology in her body. So there's a difference there.
Yeah. But yeah, I understand that. But the operation, when there's a autopsy pregnancy, the operation, everyone knows that the fetus is going to be aborted. Everyone knows the fetus is going to die. So when the woman gets the operation, if her life's in danger, everyone knows, her, the doctor, the husband, the priest, the pastor, everyone knows that the embryo is going to die. So that is, that's an abortion. So why complain about women who get an abortion when you yourself just said that, yeah, I do agree abortion is right in these instances? So how come a woman can't say, I believe my abortion is right for my reasons? You have your reasons. Since we both agree that it is an abortion and we both believe in abortion at some level, how come you can't? How come you're saying, well, my reason for an abortion is just, but her reason for an abortion is unjust? That to me seems unjust to make that distinction, because we believe in abortion. You have your reason, she has her reason, and so Stephanie Gray and Scott Klusendorf, those guys, they're allowed to get away with that. But that to me is something that pro-lifers should, hold their feet to the fire. Like, no, you believe in abortion. And if you do, then why do you castrate other people for believing in abortion when you yourself believe in abortion?
I think, Brett, the reason is that we take issue with other instances of abortion is because it doesn't make consistent sense with how we treat other human beings. So, for instance, you'll never hear people advocate for killing toddlers because we should just trust women, or that it's okay to kill toddlers in the privacy of their own home. That doesn't make sense to us because we see that the toddlers are valuable human beings. And so what pro-lifers like myself take issue to is when all these other circumstances like women's choice and privacy are used to justify killing unborn human beings. So that's the consistency of a law. I think if we took the case of abortion in life of the mother, a good comparison might be for born people, let's say that there's a car that, drives off a bridge and goes into a lake or a river, and we can only save one because the other, because let's say that I'm able to save only a man and his daughter that's in the car underneath water. If I choose one to save, whoever I can save first, that doesn't mean the other is not a human being. It doesn't mean that I put them in a situation where I can only save one. That's just what it is. And so we treat the unborn the same way in that case, that we can save the woman, we can't save the child. But with all these other instances that we use to justify abortion, like I said, poverty, women's choice, etc., they don't assume the unborn's a valuable human being. And so I think the main issue is the unborn human like a toddler, like a newborn? What do you think? I mean, do you think the unborn is a human person?
Well, I want to say one thing, what you just said. You said a lot, but I won't be able to catch it all until we go back and forth. But when you say, well, a woman who gets an abortion deems the fetus or embryo not valuable, I wouldn't say that as a across-the-board statement, because I'm sure that women who get an abortions believe that the embryo fetus is valuable, but hey, I'm just in this situation where I can't handle this right now. So so if you're saying the fetus is valuable and the woman who gets an abortion because she can't afford it deems the fetus is valuable, so we're on the same side. You agree the fetus is valuable. She agrees the fetus is valuable. You believe in abortion in certain situations. She believes in abortion in certain situations. So how come we can't get along? Seems like we're agreeing on more things than we're disagreeing.
Well, Brent, here's where I disagree. I don't doubt a woman. It's not as though a woman gets an abortion out of cold blood or maybe doesn't value the life inside of her. I think the difference is how it's reflected in the law, because the law would never say it's okay for a woman to say, well, I think this, my 2-year-old child is valuable. I'm just in a really difficult position right now, and so I'm going to end my 2-year-old's life. The law would never say that's okay, regardless of the circumstances of the woman.
Okay.
In cases of abortion, that's acceptable. And so I think that's where the difference is how it's reflected in law. We would never permit situations or circumstances that were unfortunate to end the lives of valuable human beings. And so that's the difference with abortion.
Okay, I'm Brett Strong, and I give you a lot of courage for debating. I've debated Greg Kuko, Frank Turek, Faz Rana, Dr. Faz Rana, Paul Copain, Brian Alton, J. Warner Wallace. A lot of heavyweights, and I find them lacking. And this is where you're lacking right here. And I appreciate your courage to debate me, but when you say, well, our law, well, yeah, in America, but you know that there's parts of the world where there is no law for the parents to destroy a 2-year-old, or if there's places in Asia where they sell their daughters for a bag of rice, a 5-year-old daughter for a bag of rice. So there's places, if you're going to use that argument, it works in America and Europe, but it doesn't work in parts of Africa and Asia and other places where there is no law, that the parents are the law. They decide the fate of the kids. And so they would say to you, I
would say they're wrong, and I would say that that's wrong.
But they would say they're right, though. Okay, but then we're right back to, okay, you feel it's wrong, they feel it's right. So how come we just can't agree to disagree? Okay, I feel one way, you feel the other. But since you're the God of those kids, then that's your right. And so I'm just saying that when you say, well, the law says it in America, doesn't say it in parts of Africa and Asia, and I'm sure parts of Europe and even Russia. Parents, to me, the mother, speaking about the embryo, fetus, zygote, whatever, the mother is God. That when the egg is fertilized, the mother is literally God. The baby's sole survival is upon the mom up until 20 weeks or something. So since she is God over that child, that is her innate right to decide if she wants to keep it or not. Whether I agree or disagree, she is God over the zygote, God over the embryo. Up until 20 weeks, it can't survive. So since she's God over it, I have to respect that. I have to say, okay, pro-choice. I may not agree with all abortions, but since she's God over the zygote embryo, I have to respect that. So I'm bouncing it back to you.
Just so I understand your position, do you think that abortion, because it is the woman's right over her own body, do you think abortion should be legal all 9 months, or only to the point of viability where it can, so that way it can survive outside the mother's womb? Or do you think that abortion should be legal all 9 months of pregnancy, like it currently is now?
Well, I have a beautiful 5-month-old daughter. Beautiful. You know, she lays on my chest and goes to sleep. Love her to death. But at the same time, I do believe that the mom, being God over the pregnancy, yeah, she should, a mom or definitely parents, and maybe throwing in a couple of doctors, you know, but I do believe, speaking of the moms, yeah, the moms have the right to me, the mom should have the right to abort the baby when she feels, whether it's a zygote, embryo, or fetus. And I believe in certain instances that parents do have the right to say, hey, this 1-year-old child, 2-year-old child must die, you know, be euthanized. I believe in it.
You think that parents should decide whether or not they can kill their 1 or 2-year-olds outside of the womb?
Absolutely. Because... You know,
and you have a daughter who's 5 months.
5 months old on my chest. Oh yeah, she's beautiful.
You think you have the right to end her life?
Oh, no, I don't in America, of course. As you said, there's laws against that. But if I lived in Asia,
what if the law did say? What if the law did say that you could kill your 5-month-old daughter? Do you think that we should overturn that law?
Oh, absolutely. We're all adults here, man.
So it comes down to that there are situations where it's acceptable to overturn the law, because sometimes the law is wrong.
Oh, absolutely. Come on, look at slavery in America. Look at what was done to the Indians. Look at women's rights where they couldn't vote.
So it doesn't seem like, if you think that law should be overturned, it doesn't seem like you really do believe that you should have the right to kill your daughter.
Say that again?
Well, it doesn't seem like you really do believe that parents should have the right to kill their 1 or 2-year-olds, because you just said that law should be overturned if that was the case.
The law should be overturned? What law? Say it.
Like, if there were a law that said you could kill your 5-month-old daughter, you just said that shouldn't be a law, that you would advocate for overturning.
No. I think you misunderstood me. No.
So you think if there was a law that said that you could kill your 5-month-old daughter outside of the womb, you wouldn't try to overturn that law?
No, because you have to give parents, moms and dads and parents, the right to do as they see fit for their situation. I mean, we're all adults here. We're all, hang on a second. Understand this, Anthony Trent. We're all going to die. You're going to die. I'm going to die. My precious daughter's going to die. If you got kids, your mom, we're all going to die. So it's not like I'm saying something that it's not going to happen. It's going to happen. You're going to die, Trent. I'm going to die, Brett Strong. We're all going to die. So it's not something I'm advocating something that, wow, that would never happen. No, it's going to happen. It's a guarantee. So parents, and think about it, 600, 700 years ago in America, just say when the Pilgrims came here and the first European settlers came here, there was no law. So the parents can do as they please. So I'm not advocating for something that's strange. It's strange today because we have all these laws. But 400 or 500 years ago in America, there were no laws. Their parents could do as they please to the unborn and to the newborn, and up until a certain point where it could fend for itself. So
would you say now, like where we are now, that at least infants outside of the womb should have a right to life?
Say that again? Say that again?
Would you say it should be, right now, the law is fine where it is, where infants should be, like, protected by law?
Yeah, I agree with that, because, you know why? Because people don't think You know, if you have thinking adults that really take time to think about the realities of life, then and those people are gonna make the right decisions. But nowadays we don't have people that think. They do things off whim, off the cuff. A lot of people have mental illness. So yeah, I support the laws, and I would say they are just as far as protecting newborns and stuff. But
so you would say prior to birth, a woman has an absolute right to an abortion because it's her body, it's her choice that she can.
Not in America. It's against the it's against the law in America. Third semester or something like that.
Abortion's legal all 9 months in the United States. States can regulate.
Yeah, certain states are illegal. Yeah.
It's legal all 9 months. And so, do you think a woman should have the right to an abortion all 9 months of pregnancy?
Oh, absolutely. She's God over the. Okay. She's God.
So does she have the right to do anything she wants with her body, or just abortion?
Anything. Hey, she's God. She has the right to do whatever she wants. Hey, if she was on a deserted island, just say you got a woman pregnant, Trent, right? And she moved to a deserted island. Guess what? She's God over that child. There is no law. She can do what she wants. It happens all the time around the world. Women are gods over their body and the child within them. It's every day.
Do you think she has the right to take thalidomide?
The what life?
Do you think she has the right to take thalidomide, a drug that will make her child be born without arms and legs, because she has an absolute right to her body?
Well, she has an absolute right to her body, and she has an absolute right to the body, and that absolute means absolute. So
so to treat her morning sickness, she could take a drug that would make her child be born without limbs.
That's her. That's her right, and those would be her consequences to have a child with no limbs. That's her right.
What if the woman was? Let's say she took thalidomide the first time, her first pregnancy, gave birth to a child without arms and legs, and let's say that in her next pregnancy, she doesn't want her child who's limbless to be the only child with a disability, so she takes thalidomide on purpose to make her child be born without arms and legs. Do you think that should be legal because it's her right over her body?
Yeah,
like
it's her. You know,
she should be able to make her newborn children have no arms and no legs because they reside in her body.
There's reports in Africa right now where women drink battery acid. And some die trying to abort the fetus. So it does happen today. No, I'm saying it does happen. It's battery acid in Africa because they can't get an abortion. So they drink battery acid to abort the baby. Okay, so Brent, these things happen.
Brent, I'm asking you what the law should be, not what does happen in other places. I'm asking you what should the law say. And so would you say that the law right now is wrong because the law prohibits women from being able to take thalidomide because their babies turn out to have no arms and no legs. Yeah. So would you say that if Congress passed legislation to make thalidomide illegal, would you support that legislation?
Well, first of all, I think that I think the narrowness of your thinking, because once again, when you say laws, you're talking about America. There's other countries that don't have such laws. So but you got to put a disclaimer and say, okay, the American law, because there's people who drink battery acids, women that drink battery acid right now. So when you say laws, we're talking about America, a small piece of the world. A lot of the rest of the world, they don't have these laws. They leave it up to the woman, like, hey, that's.
Well, Brent, are you American?
I was born. Well, I'm American. As far, what do you mean? American citizen? Yeah, there you go.
Okay, and is your daughter American?
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm her dad, right?
Okay, so I'm American as well, and so the reason why I'm talking about American law is because you and I are both American, and so the law, when I'm referencing American law, it makes it easier because that's the country we live in. I'm talking specifically about abortion policy in the United States.
But isn't that narrow?
I am aware that other countries might have different abortion laws. I'm simply referencing American law for the benefit of clarity. But what I was trying to get to was, so you think that a woman it wouldn't be problematic for her to take that drug because it is her body, her choice. Am I being accurate?
Absolutely. It's her body, her choice. Like the rest of the world, it's her body, her choice.
Okay, so you think those are acceptable circumstances? Do you think that a woman who, there was a Yale student a few years ago named, I forgot what her name was, I think it was, her last name was Schwartz, and she was an art student at Yale who purposely had multiple early abortions and used the remains for her art project. Do you think she has the right to do that because it's her body, her choice, that she has the right to use her abortions for art because it's her body?
In America, no, but other parts of the country, she would have that right, and I'm speaking 100% truth. I'm speaking 100% truth.
If they made it legal to do that in our country, would you object to that, or would you support that?
To me, I would have to say, you know what? I haven't thought about that. That's something I haven't thought about, so I couldn't give you a pertinent answer at this moment because I haven't thought about it.
Choice. I mean, if we're going with your principle that she can do what she wants with her body, wouldn't it just make sense that you wouldn't object to that? It's her body, it's her choice.
Say that story in a nutshell again, and I'll give you a firm answer.
Sure, well,
just put it in a nutshell.
Sure. Your principle is...
No, I know my principle. No, I know my principle. What did this...
A woman got multiple early abortions and used the fetal remains on her art project. I mean, it was claimed. We actually don't know for sure if she did it. She said she did it, and she insists on the story still.
Okay, see, there you go. See, okay, this is a theory. Go ahead.
No, but I mean, Brent, I think you know well enough. Thought experiments can not actually have to happen in real life to have a discussion. So let's just say she actually did use fetal remains. And the law said that was perfectly legal because it's her body, her choice. Would you object to that law?
Okay, we're talking about in America, right? Right? Okay.
Sure. If Congress made it...
Okay, no. Okay. I'm going to give you a fact, 100% Brett Strong fact. 500 years ago in America, she could do that and nobody would say nothing. So yeah, 500 years ago in America.
I'm asking what the law should be, not what the law is or isn't. I'm asking what the law should be, Brett. I think you know the distinction is that I'm asking you, if Congress made that legal to do so, would you object to that law?
If Congress made it illegal, would I object to that law?
Made it legal. If Congress said that it should be legal for women to have multiple early abortions and use them as art projects.
To me, I would say, to me, I would say that's absolutely insane, crazy, and the woman who does it is mentally ill. But at the end of the day, she's got over that child. So yeah, that's her right. So I would say, Brett Strong, I would say that woman or anyone who does that is mentally ill and needs some counseling. She's crazy, and I don't know what man would want to get her pregnant. But at the end of the day, she is God over that child. That's the way nature made it. I didn't make it this way. Nature made her God over that child. And yes, that's her right if there was no laws against it. And around the world today, there's many places that she can do that and nobody would say anything. And 500 years ago in America, there was no laws against that and she could do it in America. So yeah, most places it doesn't even matter today, but in America, no. But I would say she's crazy and needs mental help. But at the end of the day, she's got over the body and over the baby, and nature made it that way, not me. So I have to go along with reality. I can't control people.
Okay, so what if a woman got pregnant and her boyfriend was pro-life, and she wanted to get her pro-life boyfriend cheated on her, and she wanted to get revenge on him, and so she went into an abortion doctor's office at 8 months of pregnancy and tortured the fetus slowly, had a doctor torture the fetus at 8 months, and then killed it as slowly as possible, Do you think that should be legal because it's her body, it's her choice?
Well, first of all, if she did that, she'd stand a good chance of dying because, as you know, as the fetus gets bigger in the woman's belly, the more complications and the greater chance of her dying. So if she were to do exactly what you say and torture the fetus inside of her while I was inside of her, she'd probably be dead too. So she would get.
I mean, with the abortion, the doctor could easily pull out the limbs slowly.
Yeah, but you know, if you study abortion, the bigger the fetus, the more chances of complications and dying. The more women die from complications as the baby get bigger. So if she's not 8 months pregnant and wanted to torture the fetus, she would pay dire consequences with the fetus. But once
do you think she should be that should be legal for her to do, even though she knows the consequences?
Yeah, some countries right now it would be legal for her to do it, and in some countries it would be illegal.
Do you have the right to torture a fetus to death slowly, like at 8 months?
It's her natural. It's nature given right. There's nothing I can do about a woman. Just say if my wife wanted to abort, if I get my wife pregnant again and she wanted to have an abortion, ultimately that's her right. Even I would protest it like hell no, do not do it. But at the end of the day, I have to cede that nature right to her. It's her body. She's God over the child, and I have to cede that. Because if not, you drive yourself crazy. Nature made her that way. That the woman is God over the fetus and embryo. That's just the way it is.
And I would agree with you that nature's way is having a mother, I mean, house a child within her for 9 months, and that child depends on her in terms of the earliest stages of development.
Yeah,
I mean,
God.
It depends on her for survival.
Yeah.
I just don't see how a dependence on a human being makes it, therefore you can do whatever you want to a human being. Like for instance, like your 5-month-old daughter would starve if you left your house and you didn't feed her and you didn't come back and she was left alone, she would die. But I don't think that means you have the right to do whatever you want to her, like, you know, rip her to pieces or to kill her in some other way.
Okay, in many parts of the world today, that can happen. Many parts of the world today, they can take their... No, I'm saying... No,
it's wrong and sick.
No. Okay, but they would tell you no. Okay, perfect example. Look at Hitler. Look what Hitler did to the Jews, right? Now, you would say, and I would say, that Hitler, you're wrong for doing that. But Hitler and his cronies thought they were right. Okay, let's bring it to America because you like to speak about America. We know 150 years ago, in America, there was shadow slavery. White people owning black people as slaves. Now, we all know, if you study history of black slavery in America, white Christians, now we're not talking about atheists, white Christians, pastors, priests, owned and utterly destroyed black slaves in the worst. They chopped up their bodies piece by piece. They would whip them so hard at the post that sometimes women would have an abortion on the post of being whipped. Hang on.
Okay.
Those same Christians on American soil said they were right in the name of God. They felt they had the right. So even I would say, dude, you're sick. You Christians are sick for doing this to the black slaves. Those same Christians would say to me, if they could speak from their graves, no, we're right. So, it is what it is. What can we do, I mean, but go ahead.
Do you think there is objective truth, or do you think truth is just relative to culture?
Right and wrong. Right and wrong is relative. It is subjective. It's an opinion.
By culture or by individual or
no?
both?
Individual and culture. They're both. It's relative.
Okay, so my personal sense of morality
is your opinion.
Should be what guides me.
Absolutely. My right or wrong, my sense of right or wrong is what guides me, and it's what guides everyone, and it's what guides you.
So, if I can just understand, when you say that the Holocaust is wrong from our perspective, are you saying that it's wrong only because we think it's wrong or we feel that it's wrong, but it's not actually wrong in any objective sense. It's just wrong because we think it's wrong.
Exactly. It's wrong because our convictions say, hey, what Hitler did was wrong. What the white Christians did to the black slaves and to the Indians was wrong. That's our conviction. But their conviction equally is opposite. Their conviction is, no, this is just and right and even the will of God. You see? So that's why.
What if I said, well, personally for me, I think it's right to molest children, and so the law shouldn't interfere with that because that's my personal sense of morality. If right and wrong is only based on what I think, then can you really criticize me for choosing to molest my child or choosing to feed my child? It seems like you would have to just let me do what I wanted because that's my morality. That's my right and wrong. What do you think of that?
No, go to Asia right now, and there's kids, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7-year-old girls and boys are prostitutes in Asia. So that goes on today. Like it's nothing. Read in the open.
Do you think the law should be in the United States less restrictive on pedophiles? Because I mean, if we should respect people's individual choices and their individual morals, do you think that the law should kind of lessen up on pedophiles because we should let people live out their personal sense of morality to the fullest extent?
Okay. On American soil, 300 or 400 years ago, there were no pedophile laws. 300 or 400 years ago. Matter of fact, 100 years ago, less than 100 years ago in America, a 10-year-old girl, a grown man could have sex with a 10-year-old girl, and it was legal in like all the states, like most states. It was legal. I was reading somewhere. It was legal in America for a 10-year-old girl to have sex with a grown man in America. That was legal. So when you talk about pedophilia, this has gone on in America, up until 60, 70 years ago, that a grown man could have sex with a 10-year-old. So
who do it though? Is it a good thing that our law punishes people that molest children?
Oh, absolutely. I totally agree with that. That is my personal conviction.
So, like a father who, let's say that their, parents are sexually abusing their children, and the children depend on them for their livelihood. We wouldn't say it's okay for a parent to we wouldn't say it should be okay for a parent to molest their toddler, even though they're in charge of the toddler, right? We wouldn't say that that's okay.
In some cultures in the world today, it's okay. Some cultures, that's okay. Incest and everything, it's okay in certain cultures. I don't agree with it. My personal conviction is dead set against it. But in certain cultures today, as you see, the difference between me and you is I look at reality from a full scope and accept reality. Christians and you don't like to accept reality. The reality says this happens today, and that's just the way it is. There's nothing me and you can do about it besides our small space in America. We make our own laws in America that we feel good about. But the rest of the world, many places, anything goes. And it's been like that in America up until, 50 years ago? I mean, come on, Jim Crow law. Okay, no, hang on a second. You want to keep talking about America. Jim Crow law. You know what the Jim Crow law was? Where they criminalized black life in America from 1877 to 1965. Yes. Thousands and thousands of black people were lynched. Not only were they lynched and it was legal, but they would cut their toes and fingers off and sell it to the crowd. And send it in postcards, cut their fingers and toes, and then they would burn them at a stake and take out their heart and liver and sell their heart and liver for 25 cents a slice. This is white Christian Anglo-Americans doing this to black people not more than 60 years ago, and it was legal. So, but yet,
you know what? No one within the civil rights movement did. No one within the civil rights movement said, "Well, you know what? Racism just happens other places in the world." And morals are relative by culture and by individual. So, you know what? You really can't do anything about overturning these Jim Crow laws because morals are relative. It's right for these white people to discriminate black people. It's right for them. Sure, you view it as wrong, but that's just your opinion. You view it as wrong. So you really shouldn't do anything to overturn those Jim Crow laws. because morals are so relative.
And
no one within the civil rights movement did that.
Okay, Christians from slavery to Jim Crow laws said just what you said. Leave us alone. Let us treat blacks the way you want. Christians in America, 60, 70 years ago, Christians were holding the Bible and murdering black people in the streets of America. Just read Red Summer. When anybody listen to this, just Google Red Summer. But go ahead.
And Brett, it doesn't, what my point is that when a law is perceived as unjust because human beings are being mistreated, you wouldn't look at the civil rights movement and say, you know what, they were really dumb to try to change the law because morals are relative, they shouldn't be complaining. But yet you choose to do that in these other circumstances, like pro-life movement. You say, well, abortion just happens in other places, and it's legal in our country, so you shouldn't try to impose your morality on other people. But that's what the civil rights movement did, was it did try to impose morality of equality on people. And we think that they're heroes for it. And so that's my point, is that if morals really are relative by culture, then Martin Luther King Jr. and others should have just shut up and not done anything. That's my point, is that you choose to believe morals are relative when it's convenient for you, like abortion, but you don't do that with other things like racism and the civil rights movement.
You know what?
That's my inconsistency.
Okay, no, you know why it's not consistent? It's not inconsistent, and this is where you're wrong. And Stephanie Gray likes to pull this out, and Scott Klusendorf, they like to pull out the civil rights movement, right? But have you heard of Dr. Peter Kreeft?
Yes.
Yeah, one of the top philosophers in Boston College, worldwide known. He said he was debating David Boonin, and he's another top philosopher. And they both agreed in the middle of the debate, that there was no analogy or circumstances that they could compare to a woman being pregnant. They both said it. Peter Kreeft and David Boonin both admitted to each other, like, hey, if you boil this down, there's really nothing that we can compare to a woman being pregnant. There is no something that's equal to that. Therefore, you using the civil rights movement is invalid, because the civil rights movement is not equal to a woman being pregnant. So therefore, I'm not being inconsistent, because they're two different things.
Well, first of all, Brent, I would disagree with Peter Kreeft and David Boonin, because I think that there are certainly similarities between the two. I'm not going to get into that, though. What I was comparing, notice your inconsistency on, is not trying to make a comparison that the pro-life movement is like the civil rights movement. What I was trying to say is that you view morals as objective when it comes to Jim Crow laws, but you view morals as a relative when we're talking about abortion law.
No, you're wrong. No, you're wrong. And I'm right, because when I say that they were wrong, the white Christians were wrong to do what they did to the blacks in slavery and Jim Crow, I understand that in those white Christians' mind that they felt they were right. So I'm not sitting there and go, well, I'm speaking some objective truth that everyone... No, I know that when I speak my personal conviction, those white Christians from Jim Crow and chattel slavery would say to me, no, Brett Strong, you're wrong. So no, I'm not inconsistent, because I realize what I'm saying, and I know what they believe, and they would tell you the same thing if you were alive back then. Because if they felt different, they wouldn't have did it. They felt personal conviction to treat blacks...
So you don't think any moral truth is objective?
No, how could it be? If it was objective, then it would be for all people. Like gravity.
You're making objective statements about moral objectivity or relativism.
I'm giving you... No, I'm not. No, you're confusing me. I mean, you're confusing what I'm saying, because I'm saying what I'm saying is just and right and consistent. It is my personal conviction I'm speaking. I'm not speaking some universal law. I'm speaking my personal conviction. And that's all you can do. And that's all we can do as humans, is speak our personal convictions. Because guess what? There is no universal law for right and wrong. Because if it was, we can point to it. That's why we have thousands and thousands of laws. Because there is no universal law. Like the universal law of...
You just made a universal statement. You just said that there aren't any universal moral laws, but that is in itself an objective statement. You're saying what the reality is that there's no morality.
That is the reality. Okay. If that's not the reality, please point to me an objective, universal, right or wrong law. I'll hand it to you.
It is always wrong to rape a woman.
Okay, prove it. No. You're speaking your opinion again. Prove it. Show me the universal. No, okay. I'm going to show you how you're stuck because you cannot back what you say, which shows you're wrong and I'm right. I just asked you a simple question. Show me the universal law for right and wrong for raping a woman. Show me it. I can show you gravity. That's universal. Now show me universal right or wrong about rape. Show it to me. I don't want your opinion. I want you to show me.
Empirical evidence? Because
yeah, empirical evidence. Empirical evidence.
Okay. Are you saying empirical evidence, empirical data is the only way we can determine if something's objectively true or not?
Right, no. I said right or wrong. Show me the universal law that says rape is wrong.
Objective moral truth has to be backed up by some sort of empirical data.
Gravity is empirical. Show me an empirical right or wrong for rape. No. Show me empirical right or wrong for rape. You cannot show me anything empirical for right and wrong. All you can show me is your personal conviction, which I keep telling that's all we can do as humans. That's the way life is.
Brett, would you agree with this statement? Rape is only wrong because certain people feel rape is wrong.
No, hang on.
Is rape only wrong?
No, hang on. No. You didn't answer the question. I asked you a simple question. Show me the universal law for right and wrong. Show me.
I did not show you empirical data.
There you go. Because there is none.
Just by if someone were to describe their experience of being raped, I think intuitively we know that it's wrong, regardless of how people feel about it. What your worldview entails, this whole right and wrong is determined by culture and individual, what it entails is that rape isn't actually wrong. It's only wrong when someone thinks it's wrong. So rapists who think it's like right to rape women, in your worldview, they're right. They're right for them, and it's wrong for me. Like, that's just... That's silly. I think that's silly, and really insensitive to rape victims.
Okay, let's go back to the white Christians and slavery, time for black slavery, and how many white Christian males raped black women? Lots. Tens, hundreds of thousands. And in the middle of the 1850s, there was 500,000 biracial babies born from white men and black women slaves. 500,000. Do you know how much raping was going on? Do you really think those white men thought they were raping those white Christian men? Do you really think they were raping their black female slaves? Matter of fact, a couple hundred years earlier, in the beginning of slavery, a black woman was raped by her white master. She went to court and the judge said, "We do not recognize a black woman being raped by a white man. It does not exist." So you consider all you want and be pious and say, well, rape is wrong universally. But I can point to white Christians on American soil that were dead set against you. Which backs me again that morals is one's personal conviction. It's not universal. There you go.
So I'll just let you say to a rape victim that it wasn't actually wrong for her to get raped. It was only wrong because she thought it was wrong.
Many people say that today.
I'll let you try to defend that. I'll let you try to defend that perspective to other people. I don't think people go for it because they just know in their human experience that it's wrong.
People do go for it.
I'll let you. In terms of who has a more radical worldview here, I will let you try to defend that to who you can.
No, it's not. See, that's your problem. And that's Christians' problems and Stephanie Gray and Scott Klusendorf problems. Is that you're narrow-minded. No, hang on. You guys try to be pious. I'm Brett Strong. I speak reality. What I say corresponds to reality. What you say doesn't. Because if there was a universal law for right and wrong, there wouldn't be rapes. Like, there's a universal law for gravity. That's why you don't see people standing up in the street and flying off in the air. How come we can't fly off in the air? Because there's a universal law called gravity. Now, if there was a universal law saying rape was wrong, then there wouldn't be rapes. Because there's a universal law. But since there is no universal law, then there is such thing as rape. Like if we're on the moon, right, then we could just float in the air because there's no universal law called gravity. Therefore, we could be floating different directions, right? But when there's universal laws, you have a consistent way. And when there's no universal laws, then you have chaos. That's why we have laws, to bring chaos into control. Because there is no universal law in right or wrong. So we need laws.
What I find interesting is that you get on me for not showing some empirical study or data that rape is objectively wrong, yet you show no empirical data or study that says that there's no universal moral law. Your own philosophy contradicts
No, it doesn't, because you said that there's a universal law for right and wrong. Am I correct? You said it. Not me. You said it. Am I right? Oh, right? Then if you say it, then it's your position. You know as a debater, if you say something is, then it's your position to defend it. Not mine. I'm just exposing your position as being fallacious. But you're saying something. If I say that the fairies are real, right? Then if I say fairies are real, then it's my position to prove it. And if I can't prove it, then I shouldn't be saying it. But if I say fairies are true and then tell you to prove fairies are not true, then that's a fallacious argument. If you're saying something exists, you must prove it. And if you can't prove it, it's fallacious. Which your position is. There is no universal right and wrong. That's why you can't prove it.
Right, I would be okay with that. I would be okay with you having that position if you would just shut up altogether about abortion and actually lived out your principle of right and wrong is just determined by what people do. That way you could just let pro-life people and pro-choice people who actually do believe there's an objective moral truth on the matter of abortion duke it out and change the law or not change the law. But instead, you choose to morally criticize pro-life people for saying things or and abiding by certain moral principles, but you don't do that when it comes to a woman's unfettered access to abortion. You're willing to criticize pro-life people morally with your moral principles, but when it comes to what a woman does with her pregnancy, you just chalk it up to moral relativism. So I'd be okay if you had that perspective. I just wish you lived it out a little more consistently in talking about abortion.
Okay,
That's my issue I have with relativism.
okay, when I post this on YouTube, please listen to this over again, because I'm going to say it again. You are misunderstanding me a mile wide. It is my personal conviction. It is your personal conviction. We're speaking personal convictions. That's reality. So there's no inconsistency. You can say abortion is wrong all day long, but it's just your personal conviction and nothing more. I can say abortion should be pro-choice. That's my personal conviction. Now, in America, what we do to get our way established in the land, we vote on it and then we make laws. That's how it's done. But but you must remember too, you still believe in abortion. So stop saying you believe abortion is wrong when you yourself say, yeah, there are reasons to have an abortion. So you need to I said, I'm good at what I do. I'm good at debating these issues. And you need to restudy your whole area of pro-life, because you do believe in abortion, but yet you condemn women for having abortion.
Absolutely no positive case for the pro-choice position. This entire conversation, you just nitpicked whatever I've said. At least, like, one of my friends, Samantha, she interned with Planned Parenthood last year, and we have absolutely disagreements when it comes to abortion policy. And she thinks that I have very oppressive ideas about women because of my stance on abortion, but we're best friends. But even she would say, when I've asked her, is one of us right and one of us wrong objectively when it comes to abortion rights? And she said, yes, and you're wrong, I'm right. Women have a fundamental right to an abortion. At least, even though her and I don't agree really on anything when it comes to the abortion debate, we can at least agree that even though we have personal opinions, one of us is right. And that's what's impossible to debate with you, because you are a relativist.
No,
you don't actually subscribe to a true position.
Yeah.
You subscribe to what you think is true.
No, we're both right. I'm right within myself, and you're right within yourself. The winner is the strong. Like I debated a guy named Cody Nelson, who's a student of William Lane Craig, and I debated another guy he works for a abortion. He works for pro-life too. I forget his name, but anyway.
Clinton Wilcox.
Yeah, Clinton Wilcox. Like I said to those two, I'll say to you, and I just said it, and I'll repeat myself. We're both right. Who decides? Because they said, well, who decides? The strong survives. The strong decides the fate of the community, of the strong. Like if you go in the wild, the strong decide what's going to happen in this land. And in America, it's the same way. Since we're both right, who wins? The winner is the strong. And that's why it's important for communities, individual nations to be strong. Because it's all just personal convictions and opinions. And which one stands is the strong. Now that, my friend, is reality. It always has been. Your position is not reality. I speak reality. I'll prove it to you. How do you get laws passed? The strong. You get the most votes. That's how you do it. How do you get laws passed? You get the strong. You get Congress. You get the Supreme Court. You get the president. The strong make the rules. It's always been that way. That's the deciding factor who wins.
Pro-life people and pro-choice people simply take advantage of the political process, and which is fine.
Exactly.
I think my view seems to be more reasonable because I'm advocating for equality of all human beings. What the pro-choice position says is that, no, because women have autonomy over their bodies, we can deprive human beings of basic rights. And so I'm just simply offering a consistent worldview here where I say that we would make a law that protects all human beings. All human beings. That's the most inclusive. In the same way that laws didn't make sense to deprive people of their basic rights, like Jim Crow laws targeted people because of their skin color, and certain laws targeted people because of their gender, because they were women, and certain countries have discriminated people because they have a certain religion or culture. And so what I'm simply saying is, just as something like race or gender is arbitrary, it's surface difference, I'm saying the same thing for the unborn. Even though they lack certain properties or they reside in a certain location, those are just as arbitrary reasons to discriminate and not give human beings the right to life. So I say that if you're going to stick to your relativism, I would say we pass a law that at least doesn't interfere with the lives of the most amount of people. And a law that doesn't do that is a law that's abortion-free, because I don't think unborn children should have their lives violated because some other people say it's okay.
But
so I'm simply saying, why is that not reasonable?
Okay, you say you're consistent. Yeah, you are consistent. But you're not speaking reality. See, a crazy person can be consistent being crazy. No, hang on, give me a chance. So don't sit here and be pompous to sit there and go, well, I'm consistent. Yeah, you are. But crazy people in a crazy home are consistently crazy. So being consistent says nothing. What I'm saying to you is, hang on. I let you speak, so give me a moment. What I'm saying is that you're not speaking reality. I'll prove it to you. You just said, I believe in protecting all human beings, whether the embryo, fetus, or whatever, right? But you just said earlier that you believe in abortion, which is according to you a human. So in some instances, you will abort a human knowing that it's going to die, but yet you just said, I believe in the protection of all human beings, but if the woman's life is in danger, I don't believe in it. You see your inconsistency even trying to be consistent in an unrealistic worldview?
Brett, in terms of born human beings, in terms of their right to life, if we can only save one human being, we try to save that human being rather than letting two die. And I'm treating that consistently with the unborn. I'm saying if we can only save one, which is namely the woman, with our current technology, we save the woman and we have to let the child die because there's nothing else we can do.
Yeah,
so
okay.
Still providing consistency. We treat born humans the same way. We save one if we can, and with unborn humans, we save one if we can. We save the mother because that's the only one we can save. So I am treating people consistently. I'm saying that we all deserve a fundamental right to life. And I'm saying when it comes to tricky situations where two people are going to die, namely the woman and her unborn child, and two people who are, in a car underwater and can only lift up one out of there, I'm saying we try to save who we can. That is consistent. That's the same as a rights-based society. So no, I don't believe in depriving certain people of their right to life.
You do. You just said you did. When the woman's life in danger, you believe in depriving that embryo fetus a right to life. You just said it.
Because you equivocate the word abortion.
No,
The word abortion
operation.
Okay. Which if you look at anyone in the medical community, they don't say that that's abortion. There's a difference between elective abortion and a salpingectomy, and that is something within medical literature. That's not something I'm just making up for my own convenience.
Bing dictionary. No.
They're different.
Look up. I challenge anyone to look up online the meaning for abortion. What will come up will be operation to end pregnancy. That's a fact. That is the working definition in the definition world to operation to end pregnancy. That being so, you believe in abortion just like I do and just like everyone does. So to me, that's being hypocritical to believe in abortion, and so I'm not equivocating, because I've said it from the beginning. If you check this the debate over again, you will see in the very beginning I'm saying what I'm saying now: abortion, operation to end pregnancy. So I'm not equivocating. When a woman's life's in danger, she's having an operation to end that pregnancy to save her life. So you don't believe that embryo fetus has a right to life because it's impeding on the mother's life. So, what you're doing is saying, okay, I don't believe in abortion, but I do. But I really don't, but I do. That's equivalent.
I would encourage anyone who watches the YouTube videos to look up the medical literature, and that there's differences between ethical responses with things like ectopic pregnancy, methodrexate, salpingectomy, salpingostomy. These are all different ways, and ethicists disagree with how to handle it. People in the pro-life movement, there's discussion about whether methodrexate is unethical or ethical. I'm inclined to say it's an unethical solution. So there is such a thing as abortion to deal with ectopic pregnancy, and there's a difference with other procedures. And on that note, with a late-term abortion, whether or not there's an abortion that occurs, such as dismemberment, a D&E, to deal with a pathology in the woman's body, sure, a direction could possibly save the life of the mother, or we could perform a C-section on the child who's viable and deliver the child and try to give it hospice care like we do with any dying born person. There's a difference there ethically as well. And so just in the same way with late-term abortion, we can either directly kill the child, or we can at least remove it from the uterus and try to care for it like a valuable human being. There's a difference there. And so I would just encourage anyone to look up the medical literature on it, because there is a difference. You only say that I support abortion, elective abortion in certain cases, because you're redefining the term abortion. Sure, abortion can mean to end, for instance, like a miscarriage ends a pregnancy, but I don't think miscarriages should be illegal, because miscarriages are natural occurrences, even though they end a pregnancy, but a miscarriage is an abortion. Right? Your dictionary definition is it's limited in the scope of what it can cover. Miscarriage is also
No. See, no. An abortion, look it up, folks, online, operation to end pregnancy. That's the working definition for abortion, which means you, Anthony Trent, support abortion just like Stephanie Gray and Scott Klusendorf. You do, but what you see...
And what has Stephanie said to you when you contact her about it?
What's that?
And has Stephanie Gray responded to your objection?
She responded to me and said, I watched your YouTube videos, something like that. But she responded, but she said, hey, if I have time or whatever, we could do something in future debate. And so that was her stance. I don't know exactly what she said, but she did contact me back. She personally did.
You should contact her again, because I'd love to hear a discussion with that. I mean, she does more lectures.
Well, you know what? What she does is she desires, more of fame. Hang on one second.
Say that again. Sorry, say that again.
You hear that double speak? Okay. Well, I think she wants a bigger name opponent. You know, more of a, you know.
Yeah, but you could just probably call her office and just and talk.
But yeah, I would tell Stephanie Gray the same thing. And I think I have told her that she supports abortion. The working definition for dictionary is operation to end pregnancy. They sit there and hide behind medical terms. No, have you heard of Don Marquez?
Yes.
Yeah.
He's a professor at KU.
Yeah. He flat out says, if you read his papers, he flat out says, to save the woman's life, that is abortion. He was like, he flat out says,
philosophers. Just because philosophers prefer to use the term abortion for that, it doesn't mean that we mean abortion in these other circumstances. So I'd say I'm just using the word abortion in a colloquial sense. That doesn't mean I'm inconsistent. It just means that there's a different, I'm using the same word for a different meaning. And you're really hung up on that, and I can understand why.
Oh, absolutely.
But I don't see inconsistency.
But you're ending the pregnancy. To sit there and go, okay, we're going to take this fetus out, but it's not an abortion. We're going to say something else. It's still the same thing. You're removing the fetus. Whether you remove the fetus on purpose because it's impeding the woman's life to succeed, or you're taking the fetus out because it's going to end the woman's life, you're still removing the fetus from the woman's body. Now, what you're saying is well, this is a just reason. Well, the woman who has an abortion because the baby's going to impede upon her success in a career, she has a just reason in her heart. So we're both just. The woman's just and you're just. The deciding who wins is the one who creates the laws who wins. And if you're in a country with no laws, then it's just your opinion. Because you can take your same thoughts, Anthony Trent, to China and say, hey, this one-child law is atrocious. You shouldn't be capturing women on the streets of China, kidnapping them, taking them to the hospital, and giving them mandatory abortions, which happens in China. If, the child laws, women have been abducted in broad daylight in China and given abortions because they already have a child. Now, you can take your pro-life stance to them, and they would say, Anthony Trent, you're crazy. I don't care about your pro-life stance. It doesn't matter. It's worthless here in China. Take it back to America, right? Which goes to show you that your position is an opinion. It's a personal conviction, like mine. And the winners are the strong.
And I think, right, one thing that I could definitely maybe identify with is that you say that, well, a woman feels that, just as, I would say that we can, perform a salpingostomy or a salpingectomy or use methadone, say whatever, to deal with a complicated pregnancy. And he said, well, women who use abortion to alleviate financial hardship, or they use it for a variety of other reasons, and you say, well, that's a just reason for that. What I think you're doing is you're saying, well, logically, just because something's acceptable in one circumstance, therefore it's acceptable in all circumstances. And I think that goes back to what I was saying earlier, is that we would never say it's acceptable for a person to say, I feel like it's best for me to end the life of my toddler because of financial hardship. That we treat the unborn very differently when it comes to circumstance. Anyway, that's just my last thought, but I have to go because it's 11:22 my time and I have some stuff to get going. And I think we've been talking for more than an hour.
Yes, and that's great, but I just want to say again where you're small-minded and narrow-minded in that in parts of the world they will say, hey, this 3-year-old's getting in the way of my livelihood and she must be dismissed, sold for a bag of rice. That's a fact. So what I'm saying is that I speak reality. Yeah, you're consistent, but you're consistent in a worldview that's not reality. Like a crazy man is consistent being crazy, but it's not reality. And so,
I find it very interesting you call me narrow-minded and small-minded when you literally just dismiss everything I say, where I've at least tried to find areas that we can agree. And it's just interesting. I think that's interesting that you name call when there's clearly trying to have an open dialogue here.
Well, when I say narrow-minded,
you're so definitive about your views. Yeah, and I am too. But it's just interesting how you say that.
You haven't shown me. Okay, well, you haven't shown me anything for me to go, wow, let me rethink this, because I thought hard about this. And there's nothing that you drew out tonight.
You haven't made a positive case for abortion rights. And secondly, it's because I think we have to take a break from talking about abortion and talk about our underlying assumptions about moral truth, which is fine, because I think I have friends who also subscribe to moral relativism. I'm not bashing you for it.
But you can't. It's reality. That's why we have laws, because
sure, I'm not criticizing your moral relativism position right now.
Even if you did, it wouldn't matter, because I'm speaking reality.
Let me finish what I was saying. I'm saying that I feel like within an hour, I'm not going to convince you that abortion is wrong, just like you won't convince me that it's a fundamental right for a woman. And even if we did have an hour to discuss that, we had to take a break and talk about some of our underlying assumptions about moral truth, which is okay. Like, that's great. And so it would probably require a lot more discussion than just an hour-long Google Plus Hangout, which is great, because that's, an exchange of ideas that lasts for a long time. I'm simply saying, like, that's not surprising you haven't re-questioned your beliefs, just as I haven't.
No, I question my beliefs all the time.
I'm not criticizing your views. I'm just simply saying we have to take a break pretty substantially from talking about the abortion issue and talking about objective versus relative truth. Because your perception of moral truth and my perception of moral truth really guides us pretty heavily for how we talk about abortion.
Absolutely.
That's a very fundamental question.
Absolutely, it should. And like I said, you haven't shown me anything. When I say narrow-minded, not a sign of disrespect, but I'm saying narrow-minded because a lot of Christians, even Greg Cole was talking about this yesterday on his podcast on STR Radio. He said that Christians do have a problem with just speaking to the choir. So when they speak or debate other people, they have trouble. He was talking about the God debate between, what was that big debate, whatever, the God debate that was on TV? Yeah. Yeah, and he was saying Ken Ham did a bad job. He goes, I love Ken Ham. He's a Christian. I prayed for him, but I thought he did a bad job. It's because, and Greg Cole himself said, it's because a lot of times, and Greg Cole said it happens to him too, that you speak to Christians so much when you face opposition of the other side, you look pretty silly, because you're not used to dealing with opposition. And when I say narrow-minded, that's what I mean about you. That you're probably not used to facing opposition. And so you're narrow-minded as far as...
I talked to hundreds of college students who are pro-choice, who are even more so vehemently pro-choice. I go to campuses and I teach people to dialogue with pro-choice people. I dialogue with pro-choice people a lot on college campuses.
Yeah, well, those are kids.
I'm not in this like echo chamber of pro-life people.
Yeah, but
I disagree with.
You're dealing with kids on college campuses.
It's just interesting how you can make assumptions with someone narrow-minded. Where I've talked to a lot of pro-choice students, and many pro-choice students, I think it's easier to talk to them than to you.
Of course.
They even assume you're infallible.
No, they're kids. They haven't studied life. I'm a grown man. I've studied life. These kids haven't debated Greg Cole. They haven't debated Frank Turk, J. Warner Wallace, Dr. Fuzz Rana, apologetics.com team. They haven't.
I wouldn't say that those are public debates.
Yeah, but they haven't debated these people at all at any level. So therefore, they're unprepared. You're dealing with me, I've debated these people. Even on a 5-minute.
People on college campuses, they're not all in their 20s. There's plenty of adults who've lived a lot longer than I have, and that have thought about. And there's people that are. When we bring our Justice for All exhibit onto campus, we talk to a lot of philosophy professors and faculty that come to our exhibit who are pro-choice, who are a lot better, who at least can at least acknowledge that there is objective truth on the abortion debate, which makes it a lot easier to debate them.
But there isn't, because you haven't shown that tonight, because there is no objective truth on the abortion thing, because, gravity, objective. Right and wrong, there is none.
I'm not talking about objective truth. I'm just simply saying how most people's assumptions guide their opinions on abortion are a lot different than yours.
Absolutely. I agree with that's reality. I agree with you, because I speak reality, and what you just said is reality. Okay. I'm just saying a lot of things you said today was not reality based. It was Christian based. It was pro-life based, but it doesn't pan out in reality.
I never brought my Christian beliefs into our conversation. I did not once mention God or Jesus Christ or the Bible. I didn't bring anything about religion into it. I think you automatically, and in fact, I never even told you if I was a Christian or not.
Yes, you did. You said you're Roman Catholic. Am I right?
Okay, no, I'm sorry, I forgot about that. It's just
Thank you.
interesting how I never brought up my Catholicism.
Yeah, you did. I asked you, well, you're a Christian. It's like, yeah, I'm Roman Catholic. And you're smart not to bring up, let me tell you something. You're smart not to bring up the Bible in Christianity, because all I have to do is go to 1 Samuel 15:3, where your God says to kill pregnant women, kill babies, to kill elderly, kill everyone. So your God is not pro-life at all, because he will murder babies, infants, embryos at will. So you're smart, and Stephanie Gray and Scott Clues, you guys are smart not to use the Bible, because people like me that know the Bible would tear you upside and back one side using the Bible.
I would say that God has a different authority. God is the author of life, and he can take life away when he deems it. He commanded humans not to shed innocent blood.
Yeah, so
he said, per his command, and he said he told us that we do not have that authority. So God does have the authority to kill whomever he wants.
Okay.
With those objections. But I would say I really do need to go.
No, hang on. No, last thing I'll say, and we'll finish it right here. How do you know that women getting abortions aren't led by God? If you're saying God has authority to kill embryos and fetuses at will, how do you know that these women who get abortions aren't being led by God? Because Joshua, according to the Bible, was led by God to butcher pregnant women, infants, and babies. How do you know, likewise, that these women aren't being led by God to abort these babies? And we'll finish it. No, let's finish at that and think about it, and email me sometimes and we'll talk about it, okay?
All right, sounds
Anthony
good.
Trent, it's been great. I'll post it, and post it another hour or by tomorrow, and check it out. And it was great talking to you, Anthony Trent. It was very exciting. This is Brett Strong signing off. Have a good one, Anthony Trent.
You too.
Bye. This is Brett Strong, postscript. I'm very good at what I do when I debate Christians and pro-lifers. Why? Because I actually take time to think about both sides and to think about reality. Christians and pro-lifers don't take time to think about both sides and reality. You have to look at both sides and look at reality. What does reality say? When you hear your side and the other side, what does reality say? And that's why it's easy to dismantle pro-lifers or Christians. I've debated Greg Kuko once again, J. Warner Wallace, Frank Turek, Dr. Paul Copain, Faz Rana, apologetics.com team, Brian Orton. I've debated these guys. They're easy to neutralize or outright defeat is because they don't look at reality. They look at their small world of Christianity or their small world of pro-life and fail to look at the reality of life. When you look at life, folks, when you look at reality, you must look at the fullness of life, not just in America, but in Europe and Africa and China and other countries. You have to look at the fullness of life and see, hey, does my worldview, does my personal conviction stand up to the reality of the world? Not just the reality of my little world, of my family or town or state or nation, but the reality of the world and throughout time. That's how you find truth, folks. Reality is the teacher of truth in all situations. Not the Bible, not textbooks, but reality.